Welcome to Crown Level Confidence with Kalia Janae, the podcast where we empower and inspire you to achieve unstoppable confidence and self-belief. I'm your host, Kalia Janae, a wife, mom, entrepreneur, as well as a certified life coach and motivational speaker with a background in humanities and communication. I'm excited to navigate this transformative journey with you. In each episode, I'll bring you candid conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories from remarkable women who have conquered many challenges and risen to new heights. Get ready to have your crown straightened as we listen, learn, and laugh together so we can level up. Let's dive in. Okay. Oh God, I always get so nervous. Okay, so welcome to this new episode of Crown Level Confidence. And you guys, I am so excited to bring to you Amy Forsythe. She's got a resume and a bio that's so long. We couldn't even use the whole episode to tell you how amazing she is. But let me just give you a little bit about Amy, and then y'all can definitely follow her and message her all the affirmations that you are going to have after this episode. So let me tell you, Amy Forsythe is an award-winning military journalist who served 5 combat tours supporting Operation Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom, and has been on assignment for several other overseas missions. Wow. Amy started her career as a U.S. Marine combat correspondent in 1993 and currently serves as public affairs officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve. Her imagery while covering military operations around the world has been featured in numerous international and national media outlets through the years and continues to be used for historical purposes. Amy recently published a book titled Heroes Live Here, which showcases the history of Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, and she was recently inducted into the Women's Museum of California 2023 Hall of Fame for the History category. Amy Forsythe is a highly sought-after speaker, and her photos from the book have been on display in numerous exhibits throughout the country to help share the courage of the U.S. Marines who served in Iraq and Afghanistan and inspire patriotism through sharing stories of heroism and sacrifices made by Marines stationed at Camp Pendleton through the years. Wow, Amy, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That's a long list of things, but over the past 30 years, I've managed to do some great things and be in the right place at the right time, I say. So yes, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. And you know what? Plenty of people, don't know this, but some I'm sure do. This is so near and dear to my heart because I'm what's called a military brat. My dad, how I met you. My dad is a U.S. Navy veteran, retired, and did 20 years in the Navy. And so we actually lived in the military housing at Camp Pendleton. Did my dad ever tell you that?
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. I love those.
When I was little, I went to kindergarten and preschool, Santa Margarita, all of that, area up there. So
yes, I love that connection. People do say, oh, I was born on the base or I went to school there, and they have just such fond memories. I don't know if you remember being there or not.
Oh yeah, I remember the uniform and everything.
That's great. Well, your dad is a blessing, and you guys as a military family just continue to serve the community and other veterans now, and it's really great. So it's been wonderful to connect. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I always talk about, our guests and how I met them and my first impressions. And obviously if you made it this far, you're fabulous. But you guys, what you don't know is, now you're getting to know how amazing Amy is. And so we met connecting on a different project, and she just totally came in with her fabulous self and saved the day when we needed her to come in. And our project that we did was amazing. And I was scrolling through her LinkedIn this lady is legit. She's got, because listen, especially as a woman, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. For every amazing thing we put on our resume for the world to know, there are a handful of other amazing things that we don't even talk about.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to fit in, like, what would be my highlights, or what can I connect with other people on? And, not just the high notes, but some low notes too. And when people can really get through those low notes of their life and continue on and do great things, because everyone has low periods in their life, but when they can persevere and get through that and go on to do great things and sort of come back from setbacks, that's really where growth and respect comes from. I wish I could say that my journey has just been one big happy ride, so being in the military, you've seen and lived firsthand, there's a lot of ups and downs. And I look back, I reflect, and I say 30 years, so many days I wanted to quit, but all I did was not quit. And so being able to stick it out when I really didn't want to is kind of, I feel like my claim to fame is that I just didn't give up when I really wanted to,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's no small feat, especially in our like Insta society. 30 years doing anything. I remember a few months ago, and this is a really cheeky story, but a few months ago I went to the ATM, right? And I pull up or whatever, I put my card in, and it's like, congratulations on 20 years banking with us. And excuse me? And I didn't realize I had reached a point in my life where I'm now celebrating a 20-year anniversary, and it's not for any reason, just that I just didn't close the account,
That's right.
But with so many options we have, it's super easy. I'm going to switch here. I'm going to do this. This seems better. This seems, whatever. But being consistent with something and being loyal and being committed is a big deal.
It right is. Now. That analogy is spot on, because sticking with something through like, oh, I don't like this or I don't like that, but sticking it out and not jumping around kind of as a source of comfort for me. As a kid, my parents moved all the time, like just even down the street to a new house. It felt very unsettling, and I'm sure you can relate. Yeah. Because with being in the military family, you're always moving. And so just sort of like that being settled for once and having that constant relationships with organizations or a home or something it means a lot. And that loyalty and longevity is to be celebrated, really, with anything.
Right. Definitely some character building, being associated with the military. So as you know, the listeners of our podcast that we're doing right now, they are women on the go. So we're charged with the task of helping women worldwide to elevate their confidence, right? We're not here for the busted and disgusted, okay? These are the women who, they show up for their jobs every day, they show up for their families every day, but they know they want a little bit more, right, than where they're at. And there's nothing wrong with ambition, let's just be clear. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not lacking just because we want more. So tell us, Amy, as celebrated as you are, and in reflection of your many years of excellence, what would you say are some top 3 tips for success?
Well, I think, first of all, don't take no for an answer. Like if I stopped when someone told me, no, you can't do that, or we're not going to do that, or you won't be able to do that, or good luck with that in a sarcastic way, I would have not been able to do all the things that I really wanted to. And so I would say, if someone tells you no, go ask someone else. I mean, within reason, but don't take no or a negative answer. Find a way to get to yes. If it's your dream, your passion, you believe in it, try to find the people who will support you. And just because you have no idea what you're doing right now doesn't mean you shouldn't begin. So I'll tell you, last year, it was like 2 years ago, I had this crazy idea that I was going to write a book, even though I had no idea what I was doing. I launched into this book passion, and I didn't have an idea. I had to hire, help, an editor and a layout and design team, and that was learning, and the book industry is learning. But it wasn't going to stop me from beginning. So don't take no for an answer, and just begin, even though you don't know what you're doing. And then the biggest thing that I think has really helped me was realizing that risking is always better than regretting. So taking some risks is better than.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off, but wait a minute. You dropped a bomb. You tried to glaze over it. Y'all, she said risking is better than regretting. I'm gonna let you sit with that for a second.
Nah.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So taking risks every once in a while makes us feel alive, makes us feel ambitious. And if everything was safe, that's no fun, right? So taking the risk, because I always hate that feeling of regret, like, oh, I should have went to that dinner, or I should have went on that vacation with my friends, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. So take a risk on yourself, bet on yourself, because you know yourself best of all, but don't live with regretting. So, well, if a risk didn't work out, it didn't pay off, it's okay, because at least you don't have any regrets, and you tried to do something. You'll never live with that regret feeling. So risking is always better than regretting. So that's the way I've lived, a little bit on the edge. Some close calls, or say life and death situations, or but the fear of regretting something not done, would just kill me. That's my biggest fear, is like not having the opportunity, or not risking just to do something that I wanted to try. Wow, so people out there, you play it safe, but you gotta stop playing so safe. You gotta get out of your comfort zone, and don't live with any regrets. It's life after all, right? It's nothing more than life. It's full of risk, but full of great opportunities out there.
Absolutely. That's powerful. And you got one more tip for us, or did I miss the third one? You said.
Let's see. So, don't take no for an answer. Mm-hmm. And just begin. Just because you don't have any idea what you're doing doesn't mean you shouldn't begin. And risking is always better than regretting. So live on the edge a little bit, push yourself out there, and you won't regret it. And you won't have any regrets in life, because you will fully have maxed out your own potential. Could you imagine going to your grave saying, oh, I should have done that, or I should have tried this? That would just be the worst feeling for me. But
right? You can't do anything about it at that point.
Exactly. All the, everyone listening out there, you're right at the prime time to make the most of it. And if you risk and you lose something, you always can make it up, but at least you don't have any regrets, and you owe it to yourself to maximize your own potential.
Wow. Okay, so Amy, we know, I'm referred to as the Queen of Confidence, and I feel like I'm about to dub you. This is your coronation as the Queen of Consistency. Okay, so let us know. Give us some top ways to sustain confidence over the long haul. Because, we've already found out from your bio and from things you've shared, you know how to stick with something, right? But sticking with something and staying around just to stay around the negative attitude will get you nowhere. But it seems like as though you've got some tips to share with us as to how we can do it and do it well.
Well, I think consistency, like you said, is always, motivation is one thing, being motivated today, but maybe not motivated tomorrow, but being consistent is really the key. And being curious enough to what's next, what's behind that door, what's going on over here, and sort of not letting up. Don't take your foot off the pedal, keep the gas high and going, and really just understanding your own limitations, but also open the doors for yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. right? No one is going to do it. No one is going to care about you as much as you do. So everything in this life is up for grabs. Everything is on the table for you to have. And so I'm a big list maker. I make a lot of lists. I don't know if you can see this, but I make lists. And so I don't cross them off every day. I don't get everything done, but that's okay. It just keeps me on track. And so even if it's a list to make a phone call or send an email or check the mail or, you know, do the laundry, I write it down so I can prioritize what's important. And then the big stuff, the big rocks, like achieve this or achieve that, those are just a bunch of lists put together, you know? So I think that like just by having a list can really catapult you into the next level of goal setting and visualizing, you know, your potential. If the more you do the list, and if you can get a couple wins in during the day, like, oh, I did this, let me check it off the list. I did this, I checked it off the list. I went grocery shopping, I checked that off my list. I feel like even those things are wins. And once you start winning and feeling like a winner and winning those things that you put on a piece of paper, you can really do anything. If you write a book, put that on my checklist, and then you can check that off. But if you don't write it down, I think it's hard to keep things all in your head.
Yeah.
Without putting it out on paper.
Yeah. It doesn't exist in real life, right? It's just an idea. Like that's the main distinction, right? Between like an idea and a plan.
That's right. Writing it down.
You have to write it down.
It really does. It transforms your idea into something actionable. And so it really helped guide me. Every day I have a list. I try to use a list just to keep me on task, because everyone gets distracted and we have other competing priorities. But that list, I go back to it and then, oh, I didn't get anything done, but I'm going to put it on tomorrow's list. And so I think, you know, you hear successful people, like, how did they manage to do all those things in a day? Really, that list making. To include gratitude, making a list of the things that you're grateful for, and reflection. I think that goes hand in hand.
Yeah. And you know, it's important too, because once you have that list, it is an objective like artifact, right? So if you think about, you know, your journey with all your peaks and valleys and all the ups and downs, the roller coaster, whatever analogy you want to imagine, that list is not going to change just because you had a bad day. Right? Like it's going to keep you, like you said, on track, because you know you wrote it down for a reason. So whatever circumstances arise that might try to affect you or get you distracted, you can go back to that list and say, okay, but what did I really want to do? Right?
That's right. Yeah. And, you know, recalling every day, like, oh yeah, I got this done, and I'll transfer that undone task to tomorrow. It just is it's a thread throughout my life that the days turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years. And that just kind of keeps me aligned. It's like my yellow footprints. I just, you know, yellow brick road. I'm just following the road, but these transferring ideas and taskers onto the next day is just a way to do that. Now, I don't do it on the weekends per se, but maybe I didn't have a different list, and that's the chores and the things. But work stuff, you know, kind of, you got to take a break from that and get off the roller coaster for a couple days on the weekends, and then pick it back up. And so that's one way that I try to stay consistent. And it really reduces the stress too. Once I get out of my head at night, like, oh, I don't want to forget to do that or grab this thing in the morning, I write it down, and then it reduces my stress factor because I've already wrote it down, and I'm good, because I start to get forgetful. I know we all have busy lives, and it's easy to become forgetful, with just so much going on. And so once I take it out and put it on paper, I can relax.
Yes. That's what we're all working toward, right? Our next vacation. At least I speak for myself.
Yes. I know. And busy moms like you and busy moms out there, you know, gosh, it's just so competitive out there, like all the things that you have to do and prioritize. And a list is an easy way to keep people on track, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've covered, some great advice that hopefully some people use to kind of get on track, right? And how to maintain their motivation or pick it back up. But so we got to be honest though, there are some times in our lives, no matter how good of a plan it is, life just starts lifing, as they say these days. And you can get into like a rut or a pitfall. So I'm sure someone listening right now is like, yeah, this sounds great. And I know that, but, right? We always have that like, yeah, but, right? So someone I'm sure is going through a little depression, or they just feel like they're a little stuck. Amy, how do we get out of a rut?
Well, I think taking a break from your routine, I always find that I get bored if I'm just in the same routine. So I like to change it up, whether it's, working out in the morning or working out at night. And so not everything has to be exactly the same time of day every day. I think that's the best way. I always like a routine, but then once I feel like I'm getting a little bit stuck in a rut, I'd like to change things up and do something different, whether it's try a new place to eat or do something different on the weekends. And, especially in relationships too, that's probably the biggest place where people can find themselves in a rut. But there is a power that comes from taking ownership of your time and your space and where you go, what you do, who you're with. And so knowing that you can change it. You can shop at a different store. You can take a different way home. You can wear something different. You can watch something different, like expand your, whatever you're watching, and be open to that. Just having an open mind to change it up. I think that's really a good place to start. But having those goals in mind and even meeting new people can really energize you, because meet some people that are on the same path as you. Then you can really see yourself take things to the next level, something you didn't know, or meeting people that are like-minded can really energize you.
Yeah. And I agree, because I remember this time my husband and I, we were dating at the time, this many years ago, and we went somewhere. It is not really important where we were, but the point is there was a employee who was just obviously rude to us, like for no reason. Well, she probably had a reason. It just wasn't apparent to us. And, Daniel, he says, oh, well, maybe she doesn't like her job, as if that was like a reason to be rude. And instantly, like without even thinking, I said to him, if you don't like your job, quit. Like, don't make it my problem because you don't like your job. You work there, you applied to work there, and that same energy you put into getting that job, you can get a different one, or you can get an education or learn a skill or do something else, right? But I feel like we need to maintain responsibility of how we show up in the world, and we all have lifing, like I said. So I really appreciate the fact that you said, we take ownership of that and we can switch it up. It doesn't have to, I'm not advocating unemployment, let's be clear, but I am saying that we can be empowered, right, to make progress toward changing our situation. Can we control every circumstance that happens in our lives? No, we can't rewind the clock and go back in time either, but we can say, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm not satisfied. What can I do to make moves here? And, slowly but surely, you can look up, and with consistent progress, I don't know, in a week, a few months, a year, you're going to be in a completely different space than you were when all that began. Sorry, that was a little long rant there, but.
Oh, and when you encounter people who are clearly not, they're just basically alive, just above alive. They're not thriving. They're not enjoying their life. They're very unhappy. They're not satisfied with their job. It's easy to get frustrated with them and say, why are you, in this situation? But having empathy for people who are miserable, and then realizing that they feel obviously trapped or not able to make a move, but everything is in your own power. And so if you're not being drawn to it, emotionally connected to it, and you're not thriving as a person, and so the old saying, like, bloom where you're planted, if you can't figure out a way to be your best at wherever that may be, you owe it to yourself to bloom where you're planted or move on. Because blooming where you're planted is such a powerful concept to accept either your circumstances and say, I'm going to make a goal. I'm going to stay here for 6 months and then move on because I just can't, I'm not enjoying myself, or I'm rude to people for no reason. And that's just not a way to live. But a lot of people feel trapped for some reason. And they just need to have the inspiration, and have the confidence in themselves, believe in themselves, bet on themselves that they could get another job that they would like better, or have the courage to move on, to do something. And, with podcasts like this and getting inspiration from people out there like yourself, and just saying you don't have to stay miserable. But that mentality, some people feel that that's their punishment, like they deserve to be punished and be miserable for whatever reason in their life, that they deserve that and they don't deserve to be better or happy. And so it's very sad. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that going on in our country, that I feel sorry for them because they haven't learned to maximize their own potential or have gratitude. And then, it's not reflective on their personality, and they take it out on others and say, I didn't do this, girl. You have the power to get out of this if you don't like it. No one's holding you there. And so that's what's awesome about our country, right? You can work anywhere you want, do anything you want. No one should ever feel miserable because you can actually work where you want.
Right. Yeah. I remember when I was getting ready to graduate college, my undergraduate degree, I remember my dad telling me, he said, listen, you have unlimited options. At that time, I was getting ready to go to law school. And so my dad was like, all right, well, if law school doesn't work out, he was like, if you don't have a job, create one.
Yes.
There's no reason for you to not have a job. If the company doesn't hire you, that's fine. Make your own company. Fast forward X number of years. Here I am, the CEO of my own company, not because I couldn't get another job, but because why? I have a vision, I have the skills and the fortitude, and I'm going to go after it. Now I do know that I have been blessed with a measure of confidence that may be more than a lot of other people. And I come from a very stable, hands-on household. So I've been, set up in a lot of ways that a lot of people haven't been. And I feel like it's my responsibility to leverage all of that to make a greater impact in the world. So here we are.
Oh, it's wonderful. Your parents are amazing. You've been blessed, beyond measure with such a great set of parents who gave that to you, who really passed that, instilled that, and gifted you such the opportunities to think big, dream big, encourage you to not follow the path of like, well, you have to work here for 30 years and you have to do this, and where a lot of people are told they have to do that, and they feel trapped, a little bit trapped in that. And so being able to understand the power to unleash and harness your creativity, your ambition, your desires, but some people keep it bottled up and don't really listen to their own heart, like what's pulling them in a direction. And so hopefully we can awaken that in people who want to pursue more. Absolutely.
So kind of going back into the workspace mindset, what would you share? What's some advice that you could give us as to how to communicate like a pro, right? Because communication is so fluid, it's pretty much just a verb, right? You're just blah, right? You're just speaking, you're just talking. But how can we elevate that? How can we be a little bit more refined in our communication?
Well, I love this topic because many years of working in communications, whether that's professional communications or with like media or taking photos and writing stories, crisis communications, all those different things that I've been a part of, and just interpersonal communications. But I do think that learning how to communicate is one of your biggest assets, and learning how to be an effective communicator is such an important skill that isn't really taught as well as it could be. It's one of those soft skills that if you don't learn how to do it, it could cost you big time. And so gaining trust and strengthening relationships, being honest with yourself, really the first person you have to communicate with is yourself, and getting real in order to get better.
Wow,
look in the mirror.
Have to communicate with yourself. I like that.
A lot of people don't, a lot of people just want to go out instead of being reflective. And so trying to be honest with yourself and get real about what you want, how you're going to achieve it. But being a professional communicator, the takeaways that I would have and tell people is that oftentimes there's an old saying is that presentation is more important than content a lot of times. So with what you present, your tone, your body language, the overall way you're presenting it, whether it's texting, phone, in person, that's what people see, and that's what people resonate and connect with. So how you present the information, and we all do it, we all forget those manners, and sometimes our tone changes, but the presentation, if you're introducing a new idea to your spouse, to your partner, oftentimes takes some creativeness to get the response you want, or just presenting the information could be the key to getting what you want. But the 3 C's, being clever, curious, and creative in the way you communicate with people. So being deliberate about, maybe I shouldn't just blurt this out, or maybe I should ask before telling someone what they're going to do. A lot of spouses, one thing that my husband hates is that when I make plans for dinner with other people or doing something without asking him first, even though he'll go along with everything, but at least asking him, hey, would you like to go to dinner with these people on Saturday or something? As a courtesy to him, and we've been married 13 years, it's best that I ask. So I'll get the response and he feels appreciated. But I know that sometimes when people just do it without giving your partner the benefit of the doubt. So that is being, a strong communicator. But, there's 3 types of thinking. There's hindsight, there's insight, and foresight, I'll say. So hindsight is when you look back, and insight, if you got some insight into yourself, and foresight is the future. And so if you trust your instincts and use hindsight, insight, and foresight to guide you with really being deliberate about, in hindsight, I should have done this, and my insight tells me, my intuition tells me I should do this, and what do I see for the future is what's going to guide me into doing the right thing or communicating with people. And so it's such a complicated topic, but using clear, concise, consistent ways to present information, and creating your own style, but being deliberate about it, and not beating around the bush. There's nothing worse than having a conversation with someone who won't be deliberate and direct. Direct communication is always the best way, but say what you mean what you say, and people will respect that, especially with different genders and cultures. But I think there's always a common ground when we can be honest with ourselves and honest with other people.
Absolutely. Wow. You guys, you know what? You could pay your tuition at, no, I'm kidding. Amy just took us to class right now. Gosh, Professor Amy. Yes, thank you. So, wow. I mean, listen, confidence, communication, all these things are some of my most favorite things to dive into. And we are approaching the end of the episode. So let me ask you this. I got 2 things to ask you. The first one is, Amy, considering everything we've covered so far, your final word, right? We've reached that part of the episode where I'm asking for the final word, the key takeaway, the main thing that you want your girlfriends because you're in the club now, what the main thing you want your girlfriend to take away when she gets out the car and goes into work, this is what's going to be on her mind. What's the final word you want to say?
I would say that you are meant for this. The mindset and strategy to achieve your most impossible dreams rests in your own head and your heart. Is that if you feel that you are meant for greater things in life, go after your dreams. Take hold, take the reins, start being, belonging, and becoming that. When you walk in your own ambitions, and when you know how to get things done, everything is possible. And so I love opening doors for other people, because I'm at an age now where I'm not just looking on my horizon and what's going on in my world, but in the rearview mirror to bring people up and open doors and opportunities for the next generation. Because the next generation of women right now are just going to like go further and faster than my generation and that of my mother and that of her mother. And so I love just considering those windows of opportunity and those doors of opportunity. You know, everything is on the table. So ladies out there, you were meant for this. Go be it. If you can see it, you can be it. And there's a lot of great women out there leading and making an example and making an impact. So go take what's yours. You earn it, get it, go for it.
Awesome. Oh goodness, I'm ready right now. I got some things I need to do. Amy's got me all hyped. I'm like, yeah, I'm going for it. Perfect. Well, the second thing, I said I had two things. That was the first. The second thing is, okay, you talked about your horizon. That's a perfect segue. Amy, I'm on the edge right now. I have to know what is next for you, because whatever it is, I need to be there. I need to support you. And I'm sure many of the listeners right now are like, yes, we want to soak it up. Amy, tell us what's going on. What's next?
You know, I am just looking to really open doors for other people. I feel like I've reached a level of achievement and satisfaction with what I'm doing, but now I'm on a race against the clock to bring up the next generation and watch these women just, you know, really take things to the next level. So that's where I get such satisfaction, and I love just giving back really to the next generation and connecting people. So if anyone wants to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn is my platform of choice, but I'm on Instagram, and I love to connect. And if there's a way that I can help or shape or influence, by all means, let me know. And that's what I'm looking towards. A few things, some travel after being on COVID for the past 3 years. I'll be going to Europe this summer for my Navy Reserve training, but then I'm also going to take a little side trip to Croatia. And I really wanted to do some more social media and explore that avenue of just doing some not work related and just being off the clock, so to speak, but just creating some fun travel content and see if I can do that.
Yeah. Well, you guys you heard it first right here at Crown Level Confidence. Okay. Auntie Amy is ready to support you, but do not hit up her inbox with a mess. Okay. Like, you need to be prepared. Don't just blow her up for no reason. Okay. She needs the real women who are about their business. She's here for you, but don't make me come for you if you're just about to spam her. Don't do that. Don't waste her time. Okay. She's too important. But wow, Amy, I could not appreciate you enough. I know that I'm so grateful that you're here as a guest on Crown Level Confidence. We're here to empower, support, and bolster women worldwide to take their confidence from where they are up to that next notch, or a few notches if they so choose. And it has been such a blessing to have you on the show here with us. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
All right, y'all, stay tuned for the next episode. You will not want to miss it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning into another empowering episode of Crown Level Confidence with Kalia Janae. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found it both insightful and inspiring. If you'd like to be a featured guest on the show and share your journey of confidence and self-belief, please reach out to me at podcast@kaliajanae.com. I'm always eager to connect with remarkable individuals who have a story to tell. And for those interested in connecting with me for speaking engagements or mindset coaching, you can find more information on my website, KaliaJanae.com. I'd love to hear from you and explore how we can work together to inspire and empower others. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode filled with actionable tips and heartfelt stories. If you enjoyed today's episode, I'd truly appreciate it if you could leave a review on your preferred podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more listeners and inspire even more people to straighten their crowns. Remember, your journey to unstoppable confidence is a continuous adventure. I'm happy to support you every step of the way. Keep believing in yourself, keep shining, and always wear your crown with pride. Until next time, this is Kalia Janae, your host, signing off. Stay confident, stay empowered, and keep leveling up.